Okay, we've got a lot of people on, so let's get started. Welcome to our educational series from AAP, Americans for Asset Protection. Hopefully while you were waiting, you read what we're all about. We're really about protecting the assets of Americans and making sure that those assets are available through financial planners, agents, and insurance-only planners like yourselves out there on the call. So here we go with our presentation. We have some great sponsorship opportunities with the AAP Educational Series. So if you're interested in sponsoring one of these great programs, we have a very good lineup coming up this summer, and our fall is looking to be even better. So if you want to sponsor, give me a call or email me at kim@aapnow.com. And I want to thank our sponsors for today's webinar, which is Assess Best, which is a guaranteed insurance sales solution system. And of course, our fabulous ongoing sponsors, Insurance Newsnet, a magazine that takes your message further. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking to you about a really exciting concept. When these guys called me, I just got very excited because it's about adding estate planning services to your business without that high-priced lawyer in the room. And it's a great service, and we are pleased to bring it to you today. But first, let me introduce our host. It's me, of course, Kim O'Brien. I'm the CEO of Americans for Asset Protection, which is our advocacy arm, and Assess Best Inc., which is our sales solution and advanced suitability compliance platform. And then we also have Kelly O'Brien, my husband, 41 years, Kelly, COO of Assess Best Inc. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay, we also have our fabulous guest today. Abe Smith was not able to join us. He's off with his family on vacation. He's the Director of Operations of EP Cloud. And we also have Craig Alger, Senior Advisor Partner and Representative for EP Cloud. And Craig is the mastermind, and so he'll be really walking us through the EP Cloud services and all the benefits that your business will incorporate when you add EP Cloud to your system. First, I want to tell you about my little DOI adventures. I've been flying around the country meeting with Department of Insurance commissioners regarding their the NAIC's suitability model proposal. So far, I visited 9 commissioners in 9 different states, and before the end of July will be over, I will have added another 6 to that list. We're doing this in conjunction. AAP is working in partnership with Freedom to Choose Fixed Annuities. We call it the Fixed Annuity Consumer Choice Campaign. We're very much involved in making sure that consumers have access to you and to fixed annuity products without overly burdensome and impossibly litigated regulations. Our platinum sponsor for this endeavor, this adventure, is F&G Life, and our silver sponsors are National Western Life, Financial Security Associates, and Americans for Asset Protection. If you want to know more about what we're doing and why we're doing it and what our main emphasis is, visit our Fixed Annuity Consumer Choice website at fixedannuitychoice.com. So what are we up to? We're talking to these commissioners a lot, and we're getting a lot of good information. And basically our message is threefold. Do not open up suitability. We do not need to open up suitability model, which is what they're doing right now. And what they're doing is they're tinkering with the existing model, making other changes that are going to be prohibitive to our sales process and our distribution of these great products. And we're saying don't do that. Work on conflict disclosure and work on a discussion of compensation practices that we can all agree on. But as we say, we do not need to do open heart surgery on the patient. What we need to do is perhaps some other treatment plans that are less invasive and less long-term and problematic for the marketplace. So that's our main message. And what are we hearing? We're hearing from the commissioners that their main concern is that almost to a person, they say suitability model law works for them 99% of the time, that they're able to protect consumers and make sure the sales are suitable in 99% of the cases. But there's that 1% that's very bothersome for them. And when we ask them what is the big what does that 1% look like? What is the problem? And they say, well, often there'll be 3 or 4 products that may be suitable for the client. And those 3 or 4 products that may be suitable may have a range of compensation from 7 to 6 to 6.5. And they feel that that sale should be made on that lowest comp product if there's 4 suitability products in the room. We disagree. We don't think that that differential in compensation necessarily would invite a different outcome for the consumer, that sometimes the 6% products are truly more expensive in terms of their build than the 7% products. But we're saying, why does that differential bother you? And they say they feel that unless that advisor is giving the additional services necessary to warrant that higher compensation, they feel that they're just making that recommendation to advance and enhance their own personal situation. We don't agree with this. We're trying to educate them that that's not true, but they tell us that if they can demonstrate, the advisor, the agent, can demonstrate that they are actually providing additional services and additional benefits to the consumer that warrants that differential in comp, that higher comp, they're comfortable with that. So that leads us to our great service that we're offering to Assess Best advisors and agents, is the EP Cloud network. EP Cloud was built by a team of lawyers and uses a unique Q&A that provides the required information to build a basic will or trust. Their platform allows EP Cloud attorneys licensed in your state to review and draft your client's documents in live time using legal analytics and advanced automation. If the answers deviate from the basic application, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a bit, the attorneys will help customize the necessary documents required. It's a great new tool. It helps you build legal legacy transfer documents for your clients. It generates leads and referrals for you, expands your business with needed and affordable estate planning services. I like to think of it as turbo trusts and wills. So we have some high-level questions we want to ask our EP Cloud guests today, because we understand that these were the questions I asked going in before Assess Best really decided to go forward with our partnership. And the first question I'm going to ask Craig is, how is this different than the other online legal websites? You know, LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer, those kinds of things. Craig?
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Happy to be here today. Again, sorry Abe couldn't make it. He's here in heart with us. But to address this question of how EP Cloud is different from other online legal alternatives, is really who the tool was built for. So LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer, they're great at what they do. They're direct-to-consumer platforms, so a consumer can hop online, choose for themselves what type of documents they want in their estate plan, and kind of navigate the whole process themselves. EP Cloud was built to empower agents, anybody who's viewed as a trusted financial professional, to kind of be the quarterback of their client's estate planning. Without practicing law themselves, they're able to use EP Cloud to pair their clients with a quality estate planning attorney and streamline the estate planning process in a very compliant way. So that's the main difference between EP Cloud and other online resources. It's built for the advisor, still a very high quality product. You could argue that it's more high quality product for the end client than the other alternatives, but the agents are able to benefit more so.
Well, that's great. At the risk of upsetting some of our listeners, it's really like you can be the Aaron Rodgers for your clients, right?
Sure.
Okay, and I apologize to all you other fans out there that are not Green Bay Packer fans. So let me ask you, tell me about your lawyers and how they work with you and potentially with your Assess Best, with our Assess Best gig planners, our guaranteed insurance gap planners. How do your lawyers help our guys and gals?
Yeah, so our lawyers, obviously they're the ones that are performing the legal work for your clients. Our tool allows the attorneys to be as involved as necessary, but not be involved any more necessary. So what I mean by that is we've kind of unbundled the legal, or we've unbundled the estate planning process and separated out the legal tasks from the non-legal tasks, those tasks that require a license, a law license to perform, those tasks that don't require a law license to perform. And we restrict just the legal tasks our attorneys through the online. That's how we protect agents and advisors from any unauthorized practice of law. But that's also how we get the cost down for the clients. We eliminate excess and extra billable hours. We allow the advisors to step in and help with those tasks, such as funding trusts, data gathering, executing signature pages, etc. And in those steps, advisors are able to strengthen their relationship with clients, keep those clients in their office rather than having to send them to the attorney's office to become the attorney's client, and opening them up to a lot of unknowns and potentially unsatisfactory experiences, which could reflect poorly back on the advisor who sent them there that way. So the lawyer's relationship with the advisors is ideal, because these attorneys are on demand. Through advanced automation, you can access their portal anytime, anywhere you are. You can access all 50 states, no matter where you or your client are located. So it's kind of a very ideal relationship. You get the best of both worlds, having a real attorney present to do the legal work without having to deal with any unnecessary complications that sometimes attorneys bring up.
That's terrific. That sounds really robust. So what type of folks are using your system today?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it's really anybody who is viewed as a trusted financial professional to their clientele, their client base. So we have a lot of financial advisors, lots of independent RIAs. We're presently working with a couple larger national RIAs, broker dealers, lots of insurance agents, in life insurance, pre-needs planning, end of life type insurance planning, lots of CPAs. It's a great fit for tax accountants who kind of have a low point in their business practice during the non-tax season. And we have a lot of CPAs that are enjoying assisting their clients with estate planning throughout the rest of the year.
That's great. That is really, I mean, it's being used effectively and compliantly, and all of the folks that we're talking to today can easily access the system and build their business and really help their clients. That's terrific. So let's just get into the meat of it, Craig. Let's see an actual demo.
Sure.
So I just made you the presenter.
Accept the screen share here. Yeah, is my screen coming through?
Not yet. I haven't seen it. Let's see. I see EP Cloud recording. That's not what we want.
Okay, let's open this back up here.
So while we're waiting for Craig to tee up, we just want to repeat, this is a great add-on service for living trusts. Wills for your client. Will tell you about the price points of this. Is very affordable. I just read an article that was out of one of the Smart Briefs, and 65% of baby boomers do not have a will. That's a huge number. How many baby boomers are there out there? A little bit over 1 million right now. I think that's the latest demographic. Is that right, Kelly, or is it 1 billion? I usually get my zeros.
I know that 1 million is way too low.
Okay, so it's 1
probably
billion.
more like 60 to 70 million or something like that. But that's just my brain operating, and it might not be accurate. But there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, you can jump on the .gov website with the latest census, and I'll go do that again to get my brain in order. But there's a lot of people out there without wills, and if you jump down from the baby boomers just to the pre-baby boomers, you've got another whole group of people that really need this service to make sure that their assets are transferred as they wish upon death. So I see your screen now, Craig, so let's jump into the demo.
Perfect. Great. Okay, so I'm going to walk us through how we would create a client account here in the an advisor portal, advisor access, and essentially the this online interface, while the ultimate or the overarching objective and the reason for integrating EP Cloud into an advisor practice is to integrate an estate planning service, an in-house estate planning service. When we boil it down to the details, what we're doing with this online interface, all we're doing is providing a simple, streamlined, a very simple and streamlined, not time-consuming at all way to provide the client's information to the attorney for the attorney to make recommendations, perform the legal work, draft the documents. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to create a client account and gather the client's data, their information, and submit it to the attorney for the attorney and their analytics to perform all the legal work for our client. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that as we go through here. We're going to create this account, enter in their contact information, select the state that they're in. By selecting the state that they're in, they're going to be assigned to one of our networked attorneys. We're using a demo portal here, so we won't use a real attorney so that we don't actually create any real legal work here for this fake client.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Kim, what was that?
I said so you won't bug anybody.
Yeah, no need to incur any legal fees unnecessarily. Okay, so the initial portion of the attorney's online questionnaire that we can see our status bar here. There's about 20 questions in the initial portion. The attorney's questionnaire is going to gather enough information from the client to make a recommendation for what type of documents the client needs, whether that's a trust-based portfolio or a will-based portfolio. And again, this is a good example of how our solution differs from other online alternatives. Instead of the client trying to pick and choose, deciding whether they want a trust or just a will, we're allowing the attorney to make that call. Because really what we want is every client to have as deep of legal planning as their situation requires. Okay, so simple questions here. Does this client have children from outside of this relationship? We'll say no. Substantial separate assets? We'll say no. And again, so there's legal analytics built into the system here. So if this client answered yes, the legal analytics would identify that fact pattern and make a decision based off of that entry in real time. So it would alter the recommendation that our attorney's system produces. For simplicity's sake here, though, we'll say that there's no substantial separate assets. Spouse is capable of signing legal documents. Any of these documents are already in place. Do we own real estate or not? Owning real estate in most parts of the country is going to trigger probate. So if a client answers yes, they do have real estate. Most of our attorneys in there have set up their system to recommend a trust-based probate for the clients. Our attorneys are going to want to protect the client's assets as much as they can. So if avoiding probate with a trust is deemed requisite, then that's good. That's what's going to be recommended through the system.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. And again, this is a really important, a really crucial feature of our service and what makes our solution a compliant solution for financial advisors and insurance agents. You are not practicing law for your client. You are not recommending what type of documents they need in their estate plan. We are only allowing an attorney, a licensed attorney in your state, to make those calls for your clients. That's how we keep you protected. That's how we provide high quality estate planning legal work for clients.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into this client's dashboard. There we can see their document packages recommended here for us. So the rest of the meeting in your office with the client would be completing the questionnaires associated with each of these three documents. To save time, I'm not going to jump into what these questionnaires look like. It's the same format as before. I'm sure you can imagine what type of questions are asked. We're naming agents for powers of attorneys here in these packages. We're outlining beneficiary designations, selecting a trustee, outlining existing trust documents, etc., in the trust package. But to show you how to complete the process, I'm actually going to navigate here back to the advisor's dashboard to a client's plan that has already completed the questionnaire so that we can see the finished, the last steps in the process. Okay, so once the questionnaire has been completed, a response summary pops up, which serves the purpose of the advisor and the client just double checking all the spelling on the names, make sure the addresses look right. We've got all the right stakeholders in the right places. Once everything looks good and correct, we click next. The attorney's analytics do a final review of all of the client's data. If anything in the client's fact pattern could require more complex planning, our system is going to alert us here and let us know that the attorney wants to have a conversation with the client. Maybe that's because the client identified that they have a special needs beneficiary, could require a special needs trust, or a number of a couple different factors could potentially require more complex planning. And so before we proceed through with completing the client's estate plan, our attorneys are going to want to have a conversation with the client to discuss the best next steps. That initial consultation is free, of course. If further planning is deemed requisite and necessary, then the attorney will recommend or will quote his or her associated fee for that type of planning. Of course, the clients aren't required to go with our attorneys, but we have really high quality attorneys in our network. So most of the time, it's a really good price, really good quality, so the clients will go with our networked attorneys.
Good.
All right, but in this case, we see that the analytics showed a clear review. So this trust document is ready to be prepared. So we click next. The automation does its thing. It pulls all the information that we've given the system and drafts the client's documents. And by clicking into the hyperlinks here, we can actually see a preview of this client's draft from their attorney. Is my screen share still showing this? Are you able to?
Yes, we see everything. 1.014, invasion of principle.
There you go. Yeah, and so the client can preview as much or as little of this as they would like. As you, the advisor, preview this type of these documents, you'll see that these are really high quality documents. Our attorneys are uploading their documents, the same documents that clients pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for in their office. Your clients are getting those same documents for a fraction of the cost because they've gone through this automated process. So really high quality planning, just thanks to technology. It's being reduced to one 45-minute meeting and substantially less expensive. So thank you, technology.
Yes.
All right. And then once the client is ready to, or they're happy with what they see, they click next, and this is where they're taken to the payment screen where they pay the attorney and the associated legal fees. Okay, but that completes the process through the online interface. After the documents arrive in the mail a few days later in a nice professional presentation format, our advisors and agents can assist their clients with executing signature pages and then funding their trust if a trust was created. Of course, those are optional tasks, but valuable tasks to take part in because that's where a lot of need for additional planning is identified. Okay, so there you have it.
That's wonderful, Craig. I'll take the screen back from you. And that was very helpful. We do have time for questions and answers at the end. So please submit your questions via the online questions portal on the GoToWebinar page that you see, and I'll take it back. And so what we want to tell you about is then you have your second additional service that is Assess Best. So now you've done your estate plan. It's either a will or a trust, depending on those answers that your client gave and the situation of your individual client. And you know where the assets are and what they're doing for your client, or more importantly, what they may not be doing. And then you get into your Assess Best system to determine any guaranteed insurance solutions that they may need that they're wanting and not having right now in their asset portfolio. And so the AssessBest system is another service that you provide your client to understand their real insurance gaps, their guaranteed insurance gaps. Uncovering that gig is an essential element of the AssessBest platform. I built it with that in mind to make sure that we could understand the insurance gaps that these individuals are facing. We have plenty and a plethora of qualified people out there that understand the investment side of the world, and we don't think at Americans for Asset Protection or at AssessBest that there's enough conversation and enough solution recommendations for insurance gaps. So it uncovers that gig. It really guides your client to an insurance solution that you determine through your network of carriers, IMOs, and products that you provide, and it secures client satisfaction. We have a wonderful, I show this report when I'm visiting those commissioners, and they just really respond very positively. They love the simplicity of it. They love the cleanness of it. They love the the fact that the information is so easy to understand and identify any gaps that there may be in their insurance coverage. We clearly identify the protection gap if they have too much in investments that are in unprotected situations and should be moved over to a protected insurance product like an annuity or life insurance. And then we also obviously identify the income gap. And if there is no income gap, there may truly be a legacy gap. And you may have that legacy gap and understand what that legacy gap is that can meet with the trust or will that you just created through the EP Cloud. We require the client's signature on this, which again the regulators just love because they like the client, they like demonstration that the client actually knows the data that is being given to the insurance company and really understands it in a clear and concise manner. And then your recommendation, of course, you get to decide what products you're going to put in front of your clients. Our system doesn't do that. We're not an IMO. We don't care what products you recommend. That's your expertise, that's your quality service that you provide, and you determine the product, the carrier information, what the commissions are. If you want to disclose those commissions, you're able to do so on our recommendation report. If you choose not to, it doesn't come out. You just unclick and it won't show. So those are your calls again, and with the change in the fiduciary rule, you do not have to make that recommendation and discuss your commission. We recommend that if you've been in the habit of disclosing your commission, we have heard from so many advisors that that has helped their business, helped their sale move so much faster to the client saying yes, because they're really feeling that you're sharing your relationship and what you're doing for the client in a full and fully transparent, disclosed manner. So we're finding that commission disclosure is really a benefit to your sale. But again, because of the change in the rule, you have no requirement to do so at this time. We just think, and what we hear is that it's really a good asset for you. So get your gig on and uncover guaranteed insurance gaps and drive sales. So Kelly, I see some questions coming in, and I think you can see them too. Do you want to grab them for the benefit of our audience here?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Kim, for all of your input on this. And thanks for your work out in the marketplace of insurance regulatory environment. It's really helpful. Craig, you've got a great software package. We've got a whole bunch of questions that have been coming in. I want to thank everybody on the call today because you've all been very, very efficient in the way you're presenting your questions. There's a lot of questions. I've been able to kind of categorize them. And so let's jump into the first one. And it has to do with recent regulatory activity over the last few years regarding trust mills and regulations and all of that kind of stuff. And so, Craig, why don't we start with that one, and let's get a full-blown description of how you differ what the trust mill regulations have done to the industry, and et cetera. So with that, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad this question came up. And I think it's best answered by giving a brief background on our organization, on our company. It puts this question in the context. So EP Cloud, as it's known today, existed previously as a legal plan in California. Same managing attorney, same original founders, and they started putting together their estate planning automation tool in the early 90s. And over the course of about 2.5 decades, they completed over 60,000 estate plans, all in the state of California. However, in the early 90s is when several other organizations were being investigated, being accused of practicing as a trust mill. And the Attorney General, he was investigating many of those organizations, he also investigated us. We were kind of playing in the same arena, streamlining estate planning, putting advisors and agents in the quarterback position. Many and most of those organizations were shut down. We were one of the few who were given the go-ahead to keep going as currently practicing. We were ethical enough in our practices. We weren't practicing as a trust mill does, and so that's the model that was cleared back then, and it's still the model that our advisors are practicing today. And so when it comes to not being a trust mill, it really comes down to two clarifications. The first clarification is how an advisor or an agent is presenting themselves. If most trust mills, the agents or advisors who are interfacing with the client are presenting themselves as an estate planning professional, either as a paralegal, an estate planning specialist, claiming essentially to be something that they're not. With EP Cloud, you're not claiming to be any sort of estate planning guru. Rather, all you're doing is telling your client, I'm part of a national network of attorneys and advisors, and I can provide you access to high quality legal planning through my advisor portal online. All we're going to do is gather your data. We have a questionnaire to help you prepare for that. That's administered or originally created by the attorneys so that they can gather all their information that they need from you. And then I'll help you enter that into their online portal, and we'll submit it off to the attorney for the attorney to do all the legal work. Okay, so first objective is positioning or presenting yourselves in the right light. And then second is positioning other financial services and products. In trust mills, the main purpose of creating the trust mill is to sell other financial services, other products, commission-based products. So as long as the order is in the right, as long as the products are in the right order, meaning the estate planning is first and foremost, or in other words, separate from any other type of financial service, then your business practice is clear and ethical. It's when advisors slip in the signature pages for a commissioned product with the estate planning signature pages that we get in the issue of deceptive practices. So if you're positioning the order of the planning as a estate planning completely separate, not or the estate planning service completely separate from other financial planning services and not mandated to be done together, you're good to go there. So tell me, Kelly, does that
Yeah,
how's that
absolutely.
as far as how to...
Just a clarification. First of all, thanks for referencing the quarterback, because Kim was right. You are the Aaron Rodgers of estate planning. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think the big takeaway that Craig just identified for us is, how do we market our services, okay? And that's a critical element, as you know, in the regulatory process. They're looking at how you present yourself in the marketplace. And as long as you present yourself as an insurance planner and not as an estate planner, you can present these documents and help them build the estate plan. And that's the key to the whole thing. So don't get ahead of yourself. Just, you'll go through training, and all of this will be covered during the training process. And so just make sure that you market your business properly. That's the key to the whole thing.
Well
so,
said.
Thanks, Craig. Okay, next, just kind of you've touched on some of the ancillary documents that can be built into the plan. One of the questions is, do you do irrevocable trusts? So let's kind of take that question specifically and then expand on, what the total range of products or documents is inside of your whole software package.
Good idea. Yeah, so we do irrevocable trusts. Our attorneys perform irrevocable trusts. The beauty of having real attorneys plugged into the system is that these are real attorneys who perform any level of estate planning work needed in their offices, right? Our automated process, the process that can be started and completed in under an hour and is no more than $650 nationwide, is going to be able to produce only revocable trusts. If during the questionnaire process additional planning is or the potential need for additional planning is spotted, then like I mentioned earlier, the client will be paired up with the attorney. They'll have the client will have a free consultation, and in that conversation, the client and attorney will determine other documents that are needed in the client's estate plan, such as irrevocable trusts. Okay. Any questions on the first question there about irrevocable trust, Kelly?
No, I think that we're looking pretty good. I do have a question about that, and so I'm glad you brought that up. At that point, is it the client and the attorney? Are they talking directly, or do we have the agent as an intermediary at that point?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked it that way, because we still like the advisor to still be looped in and still to maintain the quarterback position, even if the audible has to be called. So the way that it's set up is that there's a phone number for the advisor and or the client to call right then and there to set up a time to meet with the attorney. And so you can set up usually the attorneys are busy and they're not available right away, but with our help, we can get a time scheduled for the agent, the client, and the attorney to have a conversation. And if an agent or advisor wants the client in their office for that conversation, that's, of course, totally fine.
Good, great, awesome.
Yep.
The next question I think you already answered, but let's just expand on it a little bit. It's specifically, it is, what is the typical cost to clients? And obviously, if you're doing an irrevocable trust or something else that's a specialized case, is there a ledger of costs that can be documented at that point?
Okay, yeah. So the level of planning that 95% of Americans are going to require, and that's namely a revocable trust, whether it's a AB trust, a disclaimer trust. Our system does a few different types of revocable living trusts, but if it's a living trust, pour over wills, healthcare documents, durable financial power of attorney, that type of planning, which is going to cover the vast majority of your clientele, is going to cost no more than $650, and that's that's across the country. So no matter what state the client lives in, same price. If it's a will-based portfolio that's recommended, then the cost is $125 per spouse. So $125 for a single individual, $250 for a married couple. As far as the additional planning done outside of the tool, so we don't dictate how our attorneys practice outside of the tool as far as pricing, their recommendations. Of course, we aren't barred here. EP Cloud is not barred in all 50 states. Our attorneys are, so we let them do whatever they feel is the best for the client situation.
Thank you, Craig, for that very in-depth and helpful analysis and demonstration of the EP Cloud system. I know that our listeners and watchers today will find it very valuable to their business. I would like to make one clarification on something Craig said. He said they were not barred in all 50 states. The lawyers are Just want to make sure everybody's aware that we mean bar as in lawyer's bar, admitted to the lawyer's bar in all 50 states, and not barred as in not allowed in. So that was just a clarification. So what does this all mean for you? Well, we're really thrilled. We got some really great news for you today, because what we're doing here at Assess Best is trying to find services that will be valuable to you, to your businesses, and to your ability to sell more annuities and life insurance. And so what we've done with EP Cloud is that normally you would pay $500 a year for their service, just to utilize the service that Craig just went through. But because of our relationship, you will not pay that. You will only pay $20 a month with your Assess Best license. So if you want to have more information on it, we're going to say this a lot, but contact Kelly O'Brien at kelly@assessbest.com, 414-332-9305. Also, what we want to do for you today is give you a little summer special. Normally, Assess Best Pro, which includes our wonderful Canix feed for FIA and multi-year guaranteed and immediate annuity analysis, as well as rates and pricing, normally that's $249 a year, but we're putting on another special for you that if you get in your Assess Best license by August 1st, you'll only pay $175. That is a yearly rate. You will not find a system that is so superior in sales and advanced suitability compliance like Assess Best out there for this price point. So again, contact Kelly at @assessbest, 414-332-9305. Next steps for you. We are so thrilled to be affiliated with EP Cloud. We really believe it's going to be a great service to add to your business. And once again, make that contact to Kelly at those numbers you see on your screen, or at the email kelly@assessbest.com. Our next webinar, put this on your calendar, it's July 25th, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to talk about fraud detection and protection. So thank you so much. A special thanks to our sponsor, Insurance Newsnet. And make sure you subscribe to Insurance Newsnet at insurancenewsnet.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.